Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session. I hope you all can hear me.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Guys, I've sent the invite to our pro learners. Please join. Topic for today is main verbs. We've discussed other verbs. Today we'll have a look at first the main verbs. So main verbs and auxiliary verbs, which is the principal verb and the helping verbs, is what we'll be discussing today. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes, allow everyone to join, and then start. Okay, let's begin. So, all right. Vaishnavi, go ahead, read the first slide.
Yes, sir. Main, principal verb and auxiliary verb, helping verb. First one, main verbs. Read this sentence. First one, James has a new bicycle.
Bicycle.
They have a big garden.
Bicycle.
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 Yes.
Bicycle. They have a big garden. Garden, sir?
Yes, correct. They have a big garden.
I go to school every day. She teach English.
Teaches.
Yes, sir. She teaches English. In this sentence, the verb words has, have, go, and teach. Teach is express a meaning of their own. The idea of position of or physical. What's a facial?
आप पूरा सेंटेंस पढ़िए. Physical action.
Physical action. Physical action. Verb which have a meaning of their own. Agree with the
Agree with the person.
Agree with the person and number of the subject of a sentence and show the time tense at which the activities happen are called main principal verbs.
Are called. Okay, are called main
Called.
principal verbs. Yes. So thank you. Yes. So here we are talking about the main principal verbs and the auxiliary verbs. So obviously the main principal verb is the verb that expresses the meaning of their own, like basically the idea of any physical action, possession, etc. Okay, so the main verb is the one that performs the action, is called the principal verb also. Okay, where it states that verbs which have a meaning of their own agree with the person and the number of the subject of a sentence and show the time, the tense, basically tense when something happened, at which the activities happen, are called main principal verbs. So when something happens and at which time something happened is called the principal verb. The other is the auxiliary verb, which is called the helping verb, which is what we'll look at next. Okay. Shrikant, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here the first two sentences, James has a new bicycle. This talks about possession. They have a big garden. Again, possession, something that you possess, jo aapke paas hai, what you possess. Okay. And the other, obviously, I go and teach. We understand that that's an action that reflects here. So in that case, obviously, it's a main verb again. Go ahead, read the next slide.
Yes, sir. Auxiliary verbs. James has returned from his office. They have cut the thief. I'm going to school now. You will teach English next year. In these sentences, the verbs has, have, am, and will are used. They do not express any idea of position on their own, nor do they have any meaning of their own. They don't. They do not independently communicate any action. They merely help to form the tenses: present perfect, present continuous, and a simple future, respectively, of the verbs return, catch, go, and teach. Such verbs are called auxiliary helping verbs.
Yes. So James has returned from his office. They have caught the thief. I'm going to school now, and she will teach English next year. Okay. In these sentences, the main verbs will are these are the four main verbs. Okay. Has, have, am, and will. Okay. Are used. They do not, though these verbs have been used, they do not express any idea of possession on their own. Okay. Nor do they have any meaning of their own. So if I remove has from his office or they caught the thief, in this present context, the sentence will be incomplete, right? So they do not independently communicate any action. They merely help to form the tenses present perfect. The first one, has returned, have caught. The first and the second one, both are the present perfect. Then I'm going is the present continuous, and the simple future is she will teach next year. Okay. So in this case, the verbs return, catch, go, and teach. Okay. So they help these particular verbs. So in this case, such verbs become the helping verb. So we understand that the main verb is the one that conveys the action on its own or the possession on its own, whereas it becomes a helping verb when it adds meaning to the sentence and helps in completing the action in the particular sentence. So here, James has returned from his office, has, have, going, teach. These are verbs that are helping in this case to complete the other verbs. Okay. Look at some more examples of the auxiliary verbs next. Yeah. Sanjay, can you hear me? Sanjay Singh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Read
Hello.
the next. Yes, please read the next slide, page 3.
Yes, sir.
Please read the next slide. Page 3. आप कौन से स्क्रीन पर हो अभी? What page are you on? Sanjay, can you hear me?
Sanjay sir,
I can't listen you properly, sir.
Okay, Sanjay, आप कौन से पेज पर हो अभी? What page are you on? आप ऐप पे अभी कौन से पेज पे हो? Page 1, page 2, page 3. कौन से पेज पे हो अभी? आपने जो क्लास अभी ज्वाइन किया है, द लाइव क्लास, आपको कौन सा स्क्रीन, आपके स्क्रीन पर क्या है ऐप पे, वो पूछ रहा हूं मैं. Maybe some technical error. It's got disconnected. Sanjay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What page are you on? अभी कौन से पेज पे हो?
Page 3, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Read page 3. पढ़िए वो page 3.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Read. आप जो पेज पे हो उसे पढ़िए. I want you to read the page. Read the slide.
The following are the auxiliary helping verbs in English: be and its form, am, is, are, was, were, been, and been. Have and its form, have, had, and been. Do and its forms, does and did. More verbs: shall, should, will, and may, might, must, out, to, need, dare, used to. We shall look into auxiliary in the next lesson.
Okay, thank you. So here the following are the auxiliary helping verbs in English. Be and its forms am, is, are, was, were, been, and being. Okay. Thank you guys. Okay. So the other is have, is forms has, had, been. Depends on what context you are using it. Sanjay, you can be on mute. All right. Thank you. Please be on mute. There's
Sir.
some. Thank you. Do and its forms, does and did, and the modal verbs. Modal verbs is something that we'll look at during the next class. We have another topic today on verbs, which is modal verbs. So yes, these are the main forms of auxiliary verbs in the English language, which is be is something like to exist, to have is something to possess, to do is when you do a particular action. So this is how you understand. So be, I am. When I say I am in Mumbai, for example. So here am becomes what? The auxiliary verb here, the main verb in this case, of course, because here I'm talking about existing somewhere. Okay. I have a car, I have a house, for example, possession. Okay. And do, I am doing, I'm playing cricket, I'm playing a sport, I am painting. Okay. So I'm doing something. I'm completing work. Okay. So here these are the auxiliary verbs that we use. Obviously, the type and the form changes depending on the context and depending on the tense that you are making the sentence in, whether it's the simple tense, whether it's the perfect or perfect continuous or continuous, whatever. So the form changes, but these are the main auxiliary verbs. We'll look at some examples to understand what does it mean. Okay. Krishna, can you hear me? Krishna, can you hear me? Krishna, you're on mute. Can you
Yes,
hear
sir.
me? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, go ahead, read the next slide. Page 4.
Look at these examples. Look at these examples. Impatient Alex is always waiting to taste whatever I cook. Is an auxiliary verb. It is an auxiliary verb. Waiting is the present participle form of the main verb. Numi was hoping for an A in her organic chemistry class. Was is the auxiliary verb. Hoping is the present participle completing the verb phrase.
Okay, good. Just give me a minute. Okay. Here, so it states that, look at these examples here. It says, impatient Alex is always waiting to taste whatever I cook. Okay. So here in this case, okay, just a minute, guys. Sanjay, can you hear me? Sanjay, please
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
mute par rahiye. There's a lot of sound in the background. Mute par rahiye. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. Just a minute, guys. Still adding some of our learners. Okay, yeah. So impatient Alex is always waiting to taste whatever I cook. Is an auxiliary verb. Waiting is the present participle form of the main verb. Main verb what? Waiting. So the present participle. Naomi was hoping for an A in her organic chemistry class. A basically here refers to the grade that the student was expecting. The person was the noun, that is, Naomi was hoping for an A in her organic chemistry class. Naomi is the name of a girl. So was is the auxiliary verb. Hoping is the present participle completing the verb phrase. So here in this case, hope obviously should be the main verb in this case, hoping, because you are using it in what tense is the sentence in? Was hoping. What tense is the sentence in? Sorry?
Past continuous.
Past continuous. Very good. Yes, past continuous. So you are using the present participle, which is the ing form. So I'll do a quick recap of the slides that we've done before we move to the exercises. Anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. The main verb, okay. What is a main verb? If someone were to, okay, I'll ask individually. Karthik, what is the main verb if you were to define main verb from this slide? In your own words. Can you?
Sir, main verbs are action verbs. Uh, they tells us something. Uh, sorry,
Yeah.
one minute, sir.
No problem.
Am I
That's fine.
audible now?
Yeah, you're audible now. Better. Yeah, thank you.
The main verbs are basically action verbs.
The voice is breaking, Karthik. Just check your connection.
That's it.
Yeah, that's fine. I heard whatever you
Main
said.
verbs are basically action verbs.
Principal verbs, yes, absolutely. Something that is the main, the you understand from the term main verb basically is when the verbs are when it represents actions, as you mentioned rightly, absolutely. And helping verbs is the opposite. Basically, they help. So it's called a principal verb. Okay, it refers to the most important verb in a sentence, the one that typically shows, as he rightly mentioned, an action or state of being of the subject. Very important, both the things. Something that shows the action or the state of being. The main verbs, the thing is that they can stand alone, okay, or they can be used with a helping verb, which is called an auxiliary verb, which is what we discuss next. Okay. Yes, correct. That is correct. So this slide explains everything about the main verbs here. The sentences: James has a new bike, have a big garden. Possession, the first two sentences: I go to school every day. Action, she teaches English. Okay, again, action. So here, these are the main verbs because these are the principal words that show what is the action. Okay, that's why. All right. Next, let me ask Tarup, can you explain the second slide and what is an auxiliary verb? Can you explain in your own words, or a helping verb?
Yes, sir. Auxiliary verbs are those verbs which help main verb to enhance their meaning.
Very good. Excellent. That is
Like
absolutely
I
right.
am going to school now. In this sentence, I am is auxiliary verb, the helping verb.
Helping verb. Yes, absolutely. So basically, the reason you use auxiliary verbs, okay, to change another verb's tense, voice, or mood. Okay. The same sentence. What was your sentence that you just made? What was your sentence? I am.
I am going to school now.
That's fine. I'm going to school. It's fine. I'm going to school now, or I'm going to school is fine. What tense is the sentence in?
Present continuous.
Okay, very good. The same sentence, if you want to make it into present perfect, can you give me a sentence? I have.
Yes, sir. I have gone to school.
Very good. I've gone to school. Okay. What have we done? Basically, we've changed what? The auxiliary as well as the main verb, right? So when I say that the auxiliary verb is used to change another verb's tense, voice, or mood, basically means that. So in the first sentence, you said, I am going to school now. So in that, the auxiliary am is the helping which particular verb, the main verb, go, right? Which the form is going in the continuous form. The moment I change the tense of the main verb go and use it as the present perfect, okay, go becomes what? Gone, the past participle. The auxiliary is have. So that's what I mean when the auxiliary is used to basically change another verb's tense, voice, or mood. Okay. So always remember, the reason we call a main verb as a main verb is because it can stand alone, okay, on its own. Whereas when auxiliary verbs are used, there is always a main verb that represents what? Represents what? The main action. Okay. So whenever there is an auxiliary, you understand that there has to be a main verb that represents the main verb, that is the main action. That is why it's called a helping verb and not a main verb. That's the difference. Okay. You still need to we still have to ensure that the usage is correct. Okay. The usage is correct is very important. Otherwise, it will be, if you use it the other way around, if the placement of the verb is not right, then the sentence cannot be grammatically correct. So the usage is still obviously important. Okay. All right. Let's look at one example. Let's say if I made a sentence here in this case, I have eaten I have eaten mangoes. I have eaten mangoes many times before. What tense is the sentence in? I have eaten mangoes many times before. What tense is the sentence in?
Sir, present perfect, sir.
Present perfect, absolutely. Here. In this case, what is the main verb and what is the
Present
auxiliary verb?
perfect.
Sir, have is auxiliary verb.
Okay, and eaten, obviously, eat is the main
Main
verb.
verb.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now the same sentence, okay, if I would say, or let's say a portion, okay, or one mango, okay, say
Have is auxiliary verb and eaten is the main verb.
absolutely. Okay. Now I change the voice. Okay. I change the voice in this same similar sentence. Let's say that mango was eaten by me. Okay. What have I changed? The voice basically, right? So active passive here.
Voice.
Yeah. So that mango was eaten by me. Does the verb change, which is the main and which is the auxiliary? Does it change? That mango was eaten by me. Does the meaning or does the main and the auxiliary verb change,
No,
or it
sir, the
stays the
main
same?
verb didn't change.
Doesn't change. Yes, very good, very good. Now, if I ask, everyone's on the same page, right? I'm giving one first example was in terms of the tense. Now I've just changed the voice, active to passive. That mango was eaten by me. The main and the auxiliary verb don't change, right? Stays the same. Was in this sentence, was is what? Was is the auxiliary in this case, okay? And eaten obviously stays the same as the main verb, even though the tense changes, okay? The voice changes rather. The third sentence, if I ask the same kind of a sentence in a question, okay? Let's say, did you eat, did you eat my mango? My mango meaning the one that I was supposed to eat, okay? What is the main verb in this sentence? Did you eat my mango? What is the main verb in this?
Sir, eat.
Eat. And what is the auxiliary?
Did, sir.
Did, absolutely. So it doesn't change, okay? Even if you use it with any tense or with the voice or any other mood when you are asking a question, it does not change. Basically, it stays the same. The auxiliary and the main stay the same. It's very easy to determine when there are two verbs, which is the auxiliary and which is the main, because the main verb will always indicate the action, form the action or the state of being, and the auxiliary verb will always act like a helping verb. Okay, so that's the easiest way to figure out. Okay, so that's what we've discussed in slide 2 and 3. Do, have, and be. Okay, and when we look at these examples here, is always waiting to taste whatever I cook. Here, is an auxiliary, waiting is the present form. Okay, all right, thank you. Let's continue with Meera. Go ahead, read the next slide.
I am baking chocolate broccoli muffins today.
Does this sentence
Does this
contain?
sentence contain is auxiliary verb?
Yes or no?
Yes,
Wait.
sir.
Which one?
Second one, sir.
Yeah, good. But which is the auxiliary verb?
Sir, is.
Is
Sir,
kahan par
I
likha hai?
am, sir. Oh, sorry, sir, am.
Am. Very good. Yes, am. I am. Everyone's on the same page. Clear? If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. Here, the sentences. Read the sentence again.
I am baking chocolate broccoli muffins today.
Very good. I'm baking chocolate broccoli muffins today. Obviously, here baking is the main verb and am is the auxiliary in this case. Good. Ankita, go ahead. Read the next slide.
Alex is sitting at the kitchen table, participating his
Anticipating.
first bite.
Anticipating.
Anticipating his first bite. How many main verbs are present in the sentence?
Tell me, how many main verbs?
Sitting.
Okay, and
One.
what is the meaning of the word anticipating?
One main verb, sir.
Once again, Vaishnavi. When I'm asking one person, allow the person to complete. Ankita, what is the meaning of the word anticipating?
Anticipating.
To expect something.
To expect.
Yes. something to expect. Asha rakhna jise kehte hain in Hindi, right? So basically, anticipating means to expect or predict, or basically to contemplate the possibility of something. So here in this case, let's say, for example, Alex is sitting at the kitchen table. The person is anticipating, means is in expectation of the first bite of whatever has been cooked or baked. Okay, so that's the meaning here. So sitting and anticipating are the two main verbs in this particular sentence. Yes, correct. Okay, Dhananjay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Please read the next slide. Read the sentence first.
Jerry caught his thumb in the car door as coffee is spilled from his cup onto his favorite shirt.
Pick the auxiliary verb in this sentence. इसमें helping verb कौन सा है?
First one, no auxiliary verb.
Excellent, very good. Read the sentence again. Can you read the sentence again?
Jerry caught his thumb in the car door as coffee spilled from his cup onto his favorite shirt.
Very good. There is no helping verb in this case. Anyone has any doubt about this sentence? Why there is no auxiliary verb? How many main verbs in this sentence, guys? What are the verbs in this sentence?
Caught. Yes, caught.
And
Spilled.
Very good. Spilled. Absolutely. That's correct. So Jerry caught his thumb in the car. मतलब कार में जो है अंगूठा अटक गया as the coffee spilled from his cup onto his favorite shirt. So spilled again shows an action. So two main verbs here. In this case, two verbs. There is no auxiliary. Very good answer. Thank you. Let's continue. Karthik, go ahead. Read the next one. Next slide.
Am I audible?
Yes. You're audible. Go ahead.
The so-called nice property of the so-called nice properties of auxiliaries serve to is an acronym for negation, inversion, code, emphasis. Negation is when auxiliaries take not or aren't to form the negative. Example: cannot, don't, wouldn't. Inversion is when the auxiliaries invert with what precedes them when we form questions. I will see you soon. Will I see you soon? Code. Code means auxiliaries may occur stranded, where a main verb has been omitted. John never sings, but Mary does. Emphasis is when auxiliaries can be used for emphasis. I do like cheese. Main verbs do not exhibit these properties. For instance, when we form a question using main verb, we cannot invert. John sings in the choir. Sings John in the choir? Instead, we have to use the auxiliary verb to. John sings in the choir. Does John sing in the choir?
Very good. Thank you. NIC basically stands for negation. Negation is a word that comes out of no, negative, right? Negative means what? No. So here it's not or cannot. So negative obviously is cannot, don't, wouldn't, I wouldn't, he cannot, I don't want to. Okay. So negation is when basically is when auxiliaries take not or nt, which is obviously the short form of don't, right? Inversion is when the auxiliaries invert with what precedes them when we form questions. Like, for example, I will see you soon. In this sentence, Karthik, what is the main verb and what is the auxiliary? I will see you soon.
Yes, sir. Will is the modal verb. See is the state verb.
Main verb in this
stative
case.
verb. Yes, sir.
So, yeah. So will is the I will see you soon. Will is what here in this case is an auxiliary in this case. Okay. And see is the main verb, right? So in this case, you can obviously invert and say, will I see you soon? Which cannot be done with the main verbs. Like, for example, when you say the last example is a very good example. John sings in the choir. Choir is the church group which sings, right? So John sings in the choir. We cannot say sings John in the choir. In order to form a question, we'll need to use the auxiliary. What? Do or does. Okay, does in this case, obviously, one person. So does John sing in the choir? So that's the That's a quality that main verbs do not exhibit. Basically, these are properties that are distinct for the auxiliaries only, because that's why you can invert, you can form the negative and the code and the emphasis. Now in this, code basically means nothing but may occur stranded when a main verb has been omitted. John never sings, but Mary does. Okay. What do you understand? Karthik, you read this. Can you explain? What do you understand from that explanation of code? Code means what? Can you read that part again?
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Code means auxiliaries. Sorry. Code means auxiliaries may occur stranded where a main verb has been omitted. John never sings, but Mary does.
So what do you think is the meaning?
Stranded means, I think, Sir, I think the meaning is, even though we use does in the second part, it is like Mary also sings. It has the same meaning. That it means that even though we omit the main verb sing here, it is understood by the auxiliary verb does.
Excellent. Yes, that is exactly right. Like, for example, let me give you another example here. Okay. So let's say, let's give you another sentence. So in this particular example, when you say may occur stranded मतलब कहीं पर फंसा हुआ या omit किया हुआ, नहीं रखा है, basically that's what it means. So means auxiliaries may occur stranded when a main verb has been omitted. Okay. So as you rightly mentioned, John never sings. So basically what it means is like, John does sing. That's what, that's what you are trying to imply, but you've omitted, okay, the main verb. But Mary does in the second part here. The first part, John never sings, the main verb is mentioned, but Mary does. So in this case, what is omitted in this sentence? Does sing. Why is it omitted? To avoid what? What is omitted?
Repetition.
Repetition. Very good. One more example. Let's say I saw the doctor. Okay. And so saw she. Okay. In this particular sentence, what has been omitted? Okay, let's say another example. Okay. Let's say another example. Let's say just a minute. The vase was broken by the workers, wasn't it? Okay. In this sentence, let's say the vase was broken by the workers, wasn't it? What have I omitted?
Broken.
Broken is what?
Main verb.
Main verb. Exactly. So the code basically means nothing but when, when I say wasn't it, okay, so wasn't jo hai, it seems like stranded, omitted, because it seems stranded because we have not used the main verb again. But you don't need to use wasn't it broken because it will be repetition. So we avoid the repetition. In the first sentence that I mentioned, I saw the doctor and so saw she. Here basically means that I'm talking about the person that we saw. So I don't need to repeat. So she saw the doctor as well. No, that's not what I mean. Basically, I've simply mentioned I saw the doctor. So saw she, but that's a complicated sentence. You can ignore that. You can look at the second example, which was the vase was broken by the workers, wasn't it? In this sentence, broken is the main verb, which I have omitted. Why? Because I've already previously mentioned. So code is nothing but the auxiliary when it is used separately without mentioning the main verb again. That's it. Simple. Okay.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, it means this is just like a question tag.
It's not a question tag. It's not a question tag. Question tag is used for a different purpose. Okay. What I used in my example, that was a question tag. Yes. That was a question. Yeah, that is similar to. That is similar to, because was will become wasn't. That is a question tag. You're right. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the explanation given on the slide, but the example that I gave was a question tag. That is correct, because it's a positive. The vase was broken. You use the negative. Wasn't it broken? So I omit broken. Wasn't it is used here as a question tag. That is correct. Good. That is correct.
I
Absolutely.
think code.
Sorry.
I think code is used in. I think code is used in short yes or no question.
Yes or no? Yes, but the question tag is also correct because something that has already been mentioned, something previously mentioned. That's why. Okay. Emphasis is when auxiliaries can be used for emphasizing. Emphasizing matlab zor dena. I can simply say I like cheese. That's fine, right? I like cheese. But tell me when can be an instance when you need to use this kind of statement? I do like cheese. When do we use this kind of statements? I do like cheese. I do like watching movies. I do like playing cricket. When do we use this auxiliary in such a manner? What are the situations when you use this?
To exaggerate.
Exaggerate, not necessarily exaggerate. Yeah, exaggerate maybe, but something more than that. Something basic. When we want to clarify something.
Give importance.
Give importance is emphasizing, yes, but when we want to clarify, let's say a person asks you, can I get, can I get you something to drink or to eat? Okay, and there are 2 or 3 options given. So you are stating one of the options. I do like, pizza. You can, or I do like a cold drink. That's fine. I can have that. So basically, you are clarifying. There are a couple of choices. You are clarifying and stating that I do like this particular thing. You can get it for me. Okay. Or when there are, as I mentioned, multiple options where you are emphasizing, or there is a situation where you are trying to give importance to something that is your primary choice. So in this case, I do like cheese. That's why I would prefer that. Okay. So you can add it. So that's why emphasis basically means that kisi cheez par zor dena. I can simply say I like cheese, but when I say I do like cheese, you understand that the speaker is doing what? Is giving weight, is giving importance or emphasizing on that particular statement. Okay. Simple. So the main verbs do not exhibit these properties, like we cannot obviously invert. You'll need to use the auxiliary. So these are properties which are unique to auxiliaries. That's why they are helping words. They can be used in different ways. That's it. Okay. All right. Let's continue. Raji, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hi, Raji. How are you?
Sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm good, sir. Thank you. How are you, sir?
Very well. Thank you. Go ahead. Please continue. Page 9.
I will have the soup. Have acting as auxiliary. No, sorry. Here, have it's acting as main verb. I will have the soup. It's working for the main verb.
I will have the main soup. Here, it's acting as the main verb. Yes, because here you're talking about something that you want to consume. So I will have the soup. So maybe again, the options given, I will have the soup. There are 2 or 3 options. You're stating I'll have this. Go ahead, continue. Read the next one.
Police are investigating. So here it is R is auxiliary and investigate is main verb.
Police are investigating the incident. So R is obviously the auxiliary and the main verb is investigating. Okay, good. Thank you. Tarup, go ahead. Read the next one.
Yes, sir. He does his homework on the way to school. Does is main verb, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Does his homework on the way to the school. Does is the main verb here. In this case, there's no auxiliary in place here. So correct answer. Go ahead. Read the next one.
You should definitely see the movie. Should, sir, auxiliary verb.
Yeah, should here is the model verb which is used here. So model verb is another type. We'll discuss that later. But here, obviously, should is used as the auxiliary verb because it's helping the main verb definitely. Okay. See. You should definitely see the movie. See is the main verb in this case. Good. Vaishnavi, go ahead. Read the next one.
I do trust you, but you still shouldn't go to that party. It is a main verb, sir.
I do trust you, but you still shouldn't go to the party. कैसे main verb हो गया यहाँ पर? Go is the main verb, right?
Yes, sir.
So do is what? Helping verb. In this case, do is auxiliary because you are emphasizing. ये जो हमने यहाँ पर सीखा, emphasis, okay?
Trust is the main verb, no?
The main verb, yeah. Emphasis is when you do. I do trust you. I trust you is fine. Yeah, trust. I'm sorry. Yeah, I trust you. Yes, that's correct. I trust you. Your trust is the main verb. Absolutely. I do trust you. In this case, do is used here. Even if I remove do, the sentence is grammatically correct. I trust you, but you still shouldn't go to that party. Okay, go again. So even if I remove do, the sentence is grammatically correct. But the reason I'm using do is to जोर देने पर किसी को एक मतलब एक तसल्ली देने पर कि yes, I do trust you, but you still shouldn't go to that party and take my advice. Okay, that's the meaning of the sentence. Go ahead, Vaishnavi, read the next one.
Yes, this old house has no central heating. Auxiliary verb, sir.
That old house has no central heating. Auxiliary verb or main verb? Read it again. Read the sentence again.
This old house has no central heating.
इसका मतलब क्या है? हिंदी में इस सेंटेंस का मतलब क्या है?
इसका जो मतलब इनका जो पुराना हाउस है वो सेंट्रल हीटिंग में है, मतलब
उसमें सेंट्रल हीटिंग नहीं है. This old house has no central heating. ये जो पुराना घर है इसमें सेंट्रल हीटिंग की सिस्टम नहीं है. तो यहाँ पे has क्या होगा? मेन वर्ब होगा या ऑक्सिलरी वर्ब होगा? मेन वर्ब है. यहाँ पे कोई दूसरा वर्ब दिख रहा है आपको इस सेंटेंस में?
नो सर.
तो अगर कोई दूसरा वर्ब नहीं दिख रहा है उसका मतलब कितने वर्ब हुए? एक, राइट? So the main verb can stand on its own. So that's why this is what? Now tell me, what is it? A main or an auxiliary verb? क्या confusion है आपको? confusion क्या है वो बताइए मुझे. Sentence पढ़िए, पूरा sentence फिर से पढ़िए. Read the sentence again.
This old house has no central heating.
इस सेंटेंस में वर्ब कौन सा है ये बताइए सबसे पहले.
सेंट्रल हीटिंग सर.
वर्ब मैं पूछ रहा हूँ. वैष्णवी, आई एम आस्किंग व्हाट इज द वर्ब इन दिस सेंटेंस.
This old house.
Has is the verb. Has is the verb, isn't it? Has is the verb. हमने पढ़ा पहले, राइट? फर्स्ट 5 स्लाइड्स में जो एक्सप्लेन किया मैंने. वर्ब का मतलब क्या होता है? वर्ब इज अ वर्ड दैट शोज एक्शन, स्टेट ऑफ बीइंग, समथिंग दैट एग्जिस्ट्स. ओके, तो यहाँ पर दिस ओल्ड हाउस हैज नो सेंट्रल हीटिंग. इसको हिंदी में आपको ट्रांसलेट करने इसलिए मैंने कहा ताकि आप मीनिंग समझ पाओ. इसका मतलब यह है कि इस पुराने घर में सेंट्रल हीटिंग नहीं है. अगर ये मैं सेंटेंस कहता हूं तो सेंट्रल हीटिंग नहीं है जो है ये मेरा वर्ब हो जाता है, बिकॉज मैं कुछ बता रहा हूं जो है या नहीं है. सो इस सेंटेंस में हैज इज द ओनली वर्ब, and because it is the only verb, it is the main verb because it can stand on its own. You understand? You please practice. We have discussed verbs, nouns. This is a topic that we are discussing on verbs. So अपने free time में Hello English app पे इन topics को फिर से recap कीजिए. Okay? This is the topic that we are discussing. You should be able to know what is the verb in this sentence. So once we are done with the topic, इस topic के बाद आप free time में app पर इस topic को एक बार फिर से पढ़िए. Okay? All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Please don't get confused, guys. I try to explain as much as possible. I need to ensure that you all we are on the same page. It's okay if you make a mistake, but this is something which is basic. You need to be able to stay on the same page. Okay. All right, no problem. Let's continue. Shrikant, go ahead. Read the next one. Shrikant, you're on mute. I'm unable to hear you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I have a glass of water? This is the main verb, sir.
Can I have a glass of water? Yeah, very good.
Yes.
Here you are using it basically as this is a question. Can I have? Basically, can I get a glass of water is what it means. So if they use get, it would become easier. Have is also another means the same. Can I get a glass of water? Can I have a glass of water? Both are fine. Have is a little better or a little more polite way of asking someone. Okay. Go ahead. Read the next one.
I have had this computer for 3 years. This is also main verb.
I have had this computer for 3 years. Matlab mere paas. Read the sentence again. Okay, Shrikant, what tense is this sentence in? ये कौन से tense में है ये sentence?
This is past tense, sir.
How is it past tense? If it is past, will you use have? What do you understand from this sentence? Let's break it down. What do you understand from this? What is the meaning that you understand from this sentence? What do you think the meaning is? In simple terms, forget the tense for a minute. Forget the tense. What do you understand from this sentence? What is the meaning of the sentence? What is the speaker saying?
Yeah, I understood from this sentence.
I'm asking you to explain the meaning of the sentence. Yes.
Yes, sir. I had a computer for 3 years.
Okay. So when the person says, I have had this computer for 3 years in this sentence, do you think that the person no longer has the computer or he still has the computer?
He still had a computer.
Still has a computer. So when you still have something, that is what tense? It's in the present, right?
Yeah.
So now tell me, what tense is this?
It is a present tense, sir.
But what present? What present what?
Present continuous tense.
How is it continuous? Is it I am having a computer? No, right? I am possessing a computer? No. I am buying a computer? No. So how is it continuous के लिए आपको ing form चाहिए, right? You need a word that shows a continuous ongoing action. There is no ongoing action here in this case. The person is simply talking about possessing a computer and having a computer but you cannot say I'm having a computer, right? Because that having is used when you talk about eating. I'm having lunch, I'm having dinner. I have had this computer for 3 years is in the present perfect tense. The had, the second word had, the third word had is used as the past participle of what? Have. You understand?
Yeah.
So this, when we use the have or has plus the past participle of the verb, here in this case have, it becomes present perfect tense. If the sentence was in the I had this computer for 3 years, matlab mere paas 3 saal tak computer tha, that would have been past perfect tense. Clear? This is a present perfect tense. So that's why now tell me, what is the main, is it a auxiliary verb or is it a main verb?
Auxiliary verb.
Then which is the main verb?
Main was is has.
Had. Had is the main verb in this case. Yeah. So I have had this computer for 3 years. Had is the main verb, which is used here as the past participle of the verb have. Okay. All right. Krishna, go ahead, read the next one.
He has had a dog since 2005.
Main or auxiliary?
Main, sir. Main.
Very good. Very good. Excellent. Very good. They have basically given 2 examples of the same tense, present perfect. Okay. First is highlighted is the auxiliary verb, have had. Okay. Here is highlighted is the main verb. Yeah, had, absolutely. So she has had her dog since 2005. Again, she still has it and has had since 2005. So main verb. Very good. Okay. So basically two very good examples. This is how the main and the auxiliary verb work when the, when the tense is kept the same, but they've given an example of how to use both. Okay. Deepika, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, read the next sentence.
Lisa has been singing for 10 minutes now. So, has is an auxiliary verb.
Very good. Very good. Been singing, absolutely.
Been singing. Main verb.
Singing, yes, correct. Here, what tense is the sentence in?
Has been present perfect.
Present perfect what?
Has, have, now.
Present perfect what? Singing likha hai. Singing is what form? Continuous.
Also
Present perfect continuous.
Present perfect continuous.
Yes, present perfect continuous. Have or has plus been plus the ing form. So has been singing for 10 minutes now. Continuous इसीलिए क्योंकि ये अभी तक चल रहा है 10 minutes now. It indicates that 10 minutes से गा रही है. So has been singing for 10 minutes now. Okay.
Sir, I can see now. Singing is a has. They perfect.
No, singing is ing form. So that means an ongoing action. So that's why present perfect continuous. Okay.
Present continuous. Yes.
Sanjay, go ahead, read the next slide. Sanjay, can you hear me? Maybe some issue. Karthik, go ahead, read the next one. Karthik, read the sentence, please. Yeah.
Had is the main verb.
I didn't hear the sentence. Can you repeat that?
My parents had fish for dinner. Had is the main verb.
Yeah, very good. Had fish for dinner. Had is the main verb. There's no auxiliary in this case. All right. Meera, go ahead, read the next one.
Did you have a shower this morning? Did you have? Sir, auxiliary verb.
How is it an auxiliary verb?
Main verb, sorry.
Guys, what is the confusion? This is such a simple topic. This. Did you have a shower this morning? This sentence में, question में, आप you have a shower this morning तो कह नहीं सकते, तो आपको auxiliary use करना पड़ेगा, which is what did is the auxiliary. When we ask a question, we use the auxiliaries. Did, right? Did, do, does. Okay, so did is obviously the auxiliary and have. Main action जो दिखाता है word in the particular sentence, that's the main verb. Simple. That's the easiest way of understanding what is the main verb and what is the auxiliary. The word that shows the action. When there is only a main verb in the sentence, like this one, my parents had fish for dinner. यहाँ पर कोई और auxiliary verb हो ही नहीं सकता है, because that's just the word had is indicating. So when there is no main verb, the auxiliary is kind of acting as the main verb, because there is no other verb, right? In this case, it's only the main verb. So that's why it becomes the auxiliary. What it looks like an auxiliary becomes the main verb in this case. And in the second one, you need an auxiliary to complete the sentence. So that's why the main verb is have and did is the auxiliary in this case. Okay. Dhananjay, go ahead, read the next one. Guys, please practice this sentence and this topic
Frank
in your free
had
time.
played tennis when he was 12. Auxiliary verb, sir.
Yeah, read the sentence again.
Frank had played tennis when he was 12.
Well, yeah, very good. Played is obviously the main verb in this case. Had played tennis when he was 12. Very good. So auxiliary verb in this case. Good. All right. Ankita, go ahead, read the next one.
Look, the bus is coming. We have to hurry. Main verb, hurry.
Very good. Very good. We have to hurry. So have is the main verb in this case. Okay. Here, yeah, absolutely. Hurry is, yeah, don't think that hurry is used here as what? Hurry is used here as what?
Adjective.
Read the sentence now. Yes, absolutely. We have to hurry. मतलब हमको जल्दी निकलना होगा. So have is used as a verb. The main verb in this case, basically a great haste. मतलब you are in haste, you are in hurry, basically. So in my hurry, I left the wallet, like for example. So when I use the sentence like this, I'm using hurry as the noun in this case. Okay. When you use like, we better hurry, otherwise we'll get late. We better hurry. मतलब आप action दिखा रहे हो, that's when you use it as a verb. Okay. So good. Have is the main verb in this case. Good. All right. Shrikant, go ahead, read the next one.
Sir, has Mr. Jones written the essay?
Has Mr. Jones written the essay? Yeah. Read the sentence again.
Has Mr. Jones written the essay?
Very good.
Yes. Has here auxiliary verb?
Absolutely right. Yeah, auxiliary verb here in this case. Here, it cannot be the main verb is what you said. Why? Because the main verb is what? Right, written.
Yes, sir. Written is the main verb.
Absolutely. So when you use the auxiliary to ask a question, this is how we use. So does, do, has, have. Okay, when you are using those the auxiliaries, when you are framing a question, there'll always be a particular main verb in the sentence. Has he done this? Has he played? Has he written the book? Has he written the essay? Has he completed the work? Okay, has he completed the work? Has obviously is used as the auxiliary in this case. Okay, so helping verbs are nothing but they help the main verb in conveying the meaning, completing the sentence, conveying the meaning in its totality. And main verbs can stand on its own, whereas the helping verb cannot stand on its own. So that is the difference. So don't get confused. Just practice. Sometimes it can be tricky, but just try and keep it simple. It's easy to understand. Practice in your free time. When we discuss this topic again, or when we do some exercises, I'll ask more questions. I'll see you guys at 4 p.m. We have a topic on, I think it's on modal verbs and some more auxiliaries